Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and for those of you who are new here, I'm Damo, this is my channel, and welcome. If you're an ex-Jehovah's Witness, or you're just interested in this kind of content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. I'm trying to build my own little community of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, and once again, people who are just interested in this general type of content. So today we're going to be discussing being born into the Jehovah's Witnesses, and also some of my personal experiences. So none of us ever asked to be born, and none of us ever asked to be born into the Jehovah's Witnesses. When you're born into the Jehovah's Witnesses, you were taught from a very young age to put Jehovah first, and that everyone that isn't a Jehovah's Witness is potentially dangerous. People that are worldly are made out to be criminals, they're made out to be bad people, and that if you associate with them in any way, it could get you killed. I know that sounds very extreme, but that is the way you're raised and the way you're taught to view people from the world. For an example, when I went to school, I wanted to have some of my school friends over, and my parents said no, because they are worldly, they're not Jehovah's Witnesses, they're bad associates. You're also taught at such a young age that Jehovah comes first, and that is over everything. Well, one day I built up the courage to ask my parents, can I play football or AFL? So I asked my parents, can I play footy? And my parents said no. Basically, my parents told me that Saturday was for witnessing, and that if I was to play football, I wouldn't be putting Jehovah first, and that would be making Jehovah quite sad. So unless I wanted to make Jehovah sad, I couldn't play footy. My parents had very Christian morals and values about them, which isn't a bad thing, it's just the way that they were implemented as a kid. The part that did suck was they were very choosy about what you could watch, what you could listen to, the way you acted, the way you talked. Everything you did was very monitored because of course you want to be pleasing Jehovah. Now of course, to make Jehovah happy you had to go to meetings and you had to go witnessing. Going to the meetings meant staying up to 11 o'clock on a school night, which is never good for any young kid. As a Jehovah's Witness child, you never got to sleep in, you were always up. Monday through Friday you had school, Saturday morning you had to get up for witnessing, and Sunday morning you had to get up for the meeting. The only time you ever got a break was on school holidays or vacation. Another thing that really sucked was going to school and your friends celebrating their birthdays. They would walk in with a birthday cake, everyone would sing happy birthday except you, and then everyone would get a slice of this cake or muffins or whatever they brought in for the class except you. So as a young child, you don't understand why I'm not eating the cake or the muffins. You just think I'm being mean. You don't understand that I'm a Jehovah's Witness, so it singled you out. At Christmas time too, you were singled out because you couldn't do all the Christmas colouring and you couldn't do the Christmas tree stuff. It was the same at school assemblies. You couldn't sing the national anthem. I remember being a student councillor, so you'd sit in front of the whole entire school. Everyone's looking at you. The Australian national anthem would come on, and you'd just stand there with your mouth shut and not sing it. Actually, at some times there, I did pretend to sing it. I did, I had to pretend at some point there, but that's okay. As you get older, you do start thinking to yourself, why am I a Jehovah's Witness? Or do I want to be a Jehovah's Witness still? And that's when things start to become a bit more interesting. In my case, I was about 13, 14 and I was at high school. At that time, it never occurred to me that my parents were going to separate and that my dad was no longer going to be a Jehovah's Witness. Now, there will become a point in time where your parents and people in the congregation and elders will start pushing for you to do things. Whether that's doing the microphones at the congregation, maybe being on sound, and then they will start trying to get you to give public talks and Bible readings at the meeting. Well, when we were born, we never asked to be a Jehovah's Witness. We never asked for any of this, and all of a sudden we're being told or asked to do Bible readings and microphones, and then before you know it, they'll be pushing for you to become an unbaptized publisher. And by that time, you're starting to commit yourself to the religion without even knowing what you're getting yourself into. Now, kids that are born into the Jehovah's Witnesses are the organisation's dream come true. They don't get to see the outside world ever unless they leave. So all the organisation has to do is get you to become baptised. The second you get baptised, they've won. Do you want to know why? Because if you leave, you lose everything. Now we all know what shunning is. Most of us do. If not, there's a card up here that explains what shunning is. But when you leave, you lose everything. So you don't know what the outside world is like, and you're going to lose all your family and friends that you have, because you've been brought up to not have worldly friends. So you've got no friends. You've got no one. Not just that, but if you leave, in the eyes of the congregation, you become the scummiest of scum. And if you leave them, guess what? Shunning's going to bite you in the butt. How I managed to get out the door of the Jehovah's Witnesses was somewhat lucky. When my parents went through a breakup, my dad got disfellowshipped, and basically I went with him. I left when he left, and we did it together. Me and my dad stuck together like that, and yeah. So I never had to go out and tell my parents that I'm leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses. I've never had to have that conversation of I don't want to be a Jehovah's Witness anymore. I simply got to just leave, which is the door to freedom. And when I left, my eyes were opened big time. Everything from people to the way the world works to just working in general to the internet, Pornhub, this sort of stuff was just open to me. Now I say this particular line in every single one of my videos that I make, and that is, I do not hate the people in the Jehovah's Witnesses, I simply hate the organisation itself. Why do you ask? Well, my mum's still a Jehovah's Witness and I still love her to absolute bits. However, she's a Jehovah's Witness, so I like the people. I know Jehovah's Witnesses. I still know Jehovah's Witnesses and I like them as people. They're nice people. It's just the way they're mind controlled and fear controlled is awful. And if they were born into it like maybe yourself or I was, you can't just get out if both your parents are Jehovah's Witnesses. It is a hard conversation to have with your parents. Another thing that I really hated about being brought up in the Jehovah's Witnesses was the way you're taught to hate Christmas. You were taught to hate it, like shun it, like it's a disfellowship person. You were told to basically hate it. No way, no Christmas. For instance, I remember going to the shopping centre, or for those in the US, the mall, and Santa was there, you know, ho ho ho. He walks up to me with his like little crew, and they go, "Do you want a picture with Santa?" And Mum basically just looked at me, and I know exactly what I had to say. And I went like this, and I'd probably quote, "No, I'm a Jehovah's Witness, and Jehovah doesn't like Christmas." That is what I said to Santa. And still to this day that makes me feel sick. I mean, so guys, they are just a few of the problems about being born into the Jehovah's Witnesses. If you were born into the Jehovah's Witnesses and you know another struggle or problem about being raised as a Jehovah's Witness, please feel free to leave it in the comments section. And if you're not already, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for taking time out your day to watch this video. I hope you learned something, or at least were able to relate to something that I've said. Once again, if you have something else, please leave it in the comments. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Peace.